Let's move on to our next question. And I'm going to ask Sam and Bobo to kind of answer for their perspectives on these two. How and why do I stay focused on progress when I feel sad or worried? And there's certainly a lot to be sad and worried for these days, depending on where you live, what families or friend situations you have. There's a lot going through kids and their parents' heads. So Bobo, love to hear your perspectives and your view, because you certainly see lots of young girls, young women, young men in middle and high school through your practice. Love to hear your thoughts.
Yeah, thanks, Casey. So much of what Sam said was just right on point. At the beginning of this pandemic, it was actually really interesting. I saw something different, something that I didn't expect at the beginning. Instead of seeing, sadness and anxiety, what I actually saw was the opposite. I saw a lot of happiness and joy. And what was interesting about that was that young people, my patients and others, were actually getting more sleep. They were waking up and having breakfast with their parents, and they were less stressed about school. And it was really remarkable to me. And, I stopped and said to myself, wow, we've been running around like chickens with our heads cut off, whether it's the practices and our sports and school. And when all that sort of went away for a little bit, there was sort of this like, whoa, there are things I can focus on that really make me feel good. As this has dragged on, I have seen this increase though in lower mood and some anxiety for a lot of the reasons that Sam talked about. I think in my practice, and when I see these patients really struggling, what I like to try to remind them first is that, look, there's this global pandemic and there are all of the things that are out of your control. You are not in control of this virus. You are not in control of your school. You are not in control of the sports system. You need to focus on what you can control. And as a doctor, I really lay it out fairly simply to my patients into two broad categories. I say, hey, you can focus on some healthy habits and you can focus on some happy habits, okay? The healthy habits are very, very clear. You've got sleep, you have diet, and you have screen time and exercise. And exercise usually isn't that big of an issue for my patients because they've got their practices and they've got their routine. But in terms of sleep and diet and screen time, I really try to hone on some really important things. One, that they're young, growing individuals and they need at least 9 hours of sleep. And like I said, it was amazing at the beginning of this, man, they were all getting 9, 10 hours of sleep. Now I'm starting to hear this, yeah, I'm getting my 9 hours of sleep, but I go to bed at 3 a.m. and I'm like, whoa. You're an athlete. How are you going to go to bed at 3 after playing, Fortnite with your buddies till, 2 a.m. and then wake up for a practice at 8 a.m. and be your best self? And they're like, oh, Dr. B, you're so right? Like, sleep is important. They're still kind of getting it, but really trying to remind them, hey, lock this in, get a schedule, as Sam talked about. We need schedules, as Corey talked about. We've got to have a schedule. Get to bed at a reasonable time, wake up at a reasonable time so that you can be your best self. We talk about diet, and I'm not going to talk about ice cream, even though it's wonderful. I'm a doctor. I'm going to talk about fruits and veggies, guys, right? I'm telling my patients to lock in and say, hey, get that LeBron diet, as I call it. If you've ever been on his Instagram and you see his, fruits and lean protein and, all that stuff, eat well, eat healthy. There's amazing research that even shows that an increase in your fruits and vegetables, eating, 5+, 6+ servings a day actually boosts your happiness. So I'm telling my patients, hey, if you're feeling down, don't just check your sleep, check your appetite, check your diet, make sure that you're getting in those fruits and vegetables. Okay. And then screen time. This is one of my favorites because it is an albatross for all of us. We live in a digital age, and here we are doing a web meeting. We're on our screens, and our young people are on their screens even more, right? They use social media to interact with each other. They play video games, and as a pediatrician, we're taught to say, hey, entertainment screen time should really be limited to about 2 hours a day. Well, I mean, that's kind of gone out the window, right, with this pandemic. I mean, nobody's spending 2 hours just on entertainment screen time. But what I'm really telling my patients to say is this: make sure that screen time is intentional, okay? Make sure that if you're doing that it's social. I think because so many of our young people are being asked to, not do the typical things that they used to do with their friends in terms of hanging out, that, hey, if you're going to be on a screen, if you're going to play a game, play it with a friend, be more engaging. I actually had a patient who was like, Dr. B, we don't have practice right now, but every time I die in Fortnite, I drop and do, 20 push-ups and 20 sit-ups. Fortnite workout. I love it. I love it. Using your screen time to also stay in shape and stay fit and active. I'm all about that. So those are 3 really practical things that I think our young people can really be focused on. And then really quickly, those are the healthy habits. I've got the happy habits too. And the happy habits, we've kind of already touched on some of them. I think journaling is powerful, right? If you stop and journal about one meaningful moment of your day. I tell kids all the time, you don't need 10 minutes to journal. I think they think that you need to write an essay. No, it can be word salad. Like, oh, I was at practice today. I hit 14 free throws in a row. I crossed over that kid. Whatever it is, just put down some happy, meaningful moments. And what's amazing about the science of that is when you go back and read that, right, the same areas of your brain light up and reactivate as if you're experiencing that awesome moment again. That's why journaling is powerful, okay? The other one is gratitudes. I like to do this with my kids every night. We're going to do 3 things that we're grateful for and why. It can be so hard during this pandemic to find that happiness, to find those things that are meaningful. But if we teach ourselves to scan the world for positivity, I guarantee that science proves that it makes your brain more positive, and a positive brain is more active, more powerful, more successful. Okay. And then lastly, I love meditation. I think that you touched on this, Casey, just breathing, learning to breathe, learning to take that 2 minutes out of your day, close your eyes, watch your breath go in and out. The science behind that is powerful too. You reduce your own anxiety and you actually ripple that effect out to everybody around you. So journaling, gratitude, meditation, those are actual things that are under your control. While you're feeling anxious, while you're feeling stressed, while you're wondering what's going on in the world, if you can lock in those happy habits and those healthy habits, you can really, experience, I think, a lot of success during this time.
Thanks, Bobo. Loved all of it. Healthy habits and happy habits, 2 categories of great things that can be implemented in a very simple, easy way. Particularly, you mentioned the breathing piece. I've seen some news, both articles and news clips and shows that have in fact shown schools, elementary schools and middle schools and high schools that have integrated breathing and, quite frankly, I recently saw meditation integrated to the school time itself. Absolutely powerful. It may sound, of course, kids are kids, right? It's going to sound hokey, and even, quite frankly, us probably going, I don't want to do this. It's kind of embarrassing, but it is proven, even a few minutes a day, amazingly powerful. I think I just saw something recently in the news of a principal, in fact, in their morning call and on the speaker, they actually have the entire school quiet for about 2-3 minutes, and they're playing some Mozart music, I think it is, but everyone is told to kind of close your eyes and go into this Zen mode, if you will, and really kind of resets everyone, because everyone comes from home from different situations. It may not have been ideal, and things are chaotic maybe, and so this is their time to reset before school starts. So I just thought that was powerful. And journaling, again, I'll say that if you're a Star Wars fan, or Star Trek, I should say, kids are as well. You can call it the captain's log if you want, and journal. So there's so many different things you can call it that are powerful. So thank you, Bobo.